Hello, my name is Owen, and welcome to a quick review of A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. What I want to do is give a brief overview of the book is about, tell you things that I liked, and tell you the things that I didn't like. Jumping straight into it, it is a very short book. It's a short book, long short story, some would say. It runs around 100 pages. It's a very quick read. It follows the story of our main character who dies. And he gets sent to the afterlife. He's a Mormon, and he learns that his religion is false, and it's a religion that he did not preach, that he did not practice in his life, and his punishment is that he's sent to hell. And his hell specifically is he must find his own life story in a library full of seemingly infinite books. That is the concept of the story. That is what we immediately get thrown into. And the story kind of explores like this character coming to grips with the fact that his life and his religion was kind of fake, and everything he knew about the afterlife was incorrect. He's in hell. He's trying to figure out the rules of this place, and he meets some people along the way that are in the same fate as him, and it's kind of him coming to grips with that in his story. The tone of this short story, or first of all, let me just say, overall, I very much enjoyed this. In fact, I had a fantastic time, and I do highly recommend that people check it out because it's so short. It's such an easy read. And the thing that really caught me right off the jump was the tone of this. It's kind of witty. It's kind of like that style of humor in writing. It reminds me a little bit of like Hitchhikers or like Terry Pratchett, not maybe so much in like the ridiculousness. There is some level of absurdity, especially in the beginning when we're kind of getting introduced to these concepts. But just kind of like the tongue-in-cheek humor, there is a little bit of that. I wouldn't say it's a comedic book overall, but there's just aspects of the writing that just feel very clever to me, that kind of reminded me of those books. So immediately off the bat, I really like that. But I just think the concept of this book and how the author explores this context was fantastically done, because how the characters that we meet in this book react to their situation, and they're trapped in a library with so many books that it would take them thousands upon thousands of years and more to find the book they're looking for. And we quickly start out like they're finding books. They can't even find books with coherent words to start with, because that's just a random combination of symbols, letters, and everything like that. And just like the reaction that these people have, like their humanness, like I feel like all the characters had a very realistic reaction to be put in this situation. Some of them were just despairing. Some were like, oh, we just got to get started immediately. And just how they reacted to their situation, that their whole life was a lie, that their afterlife was not what they thought it would. Why are they in hell? What are the rules of this place? How they're exploring that, their dynamic with each other. I found it all very, very engaging. The author has a unique framing of this story. So it's kind of the main character reflecting on his story, telling us his story from far in the future. So he is telling us the story of when he first got sent to hell from the perspective of him being here for 1,000,000 years searching for his book. So it's kind of like a unique framing there. And there's a lot of jumping around like thousands of years in distance, because at a certain point his life just begins to run together as he's trying to find his life story, and the different like kind of eras of this place that he encounters. Like there's parts where the people are really hopeful and they're banding together. There's some times where they're just trying to party all the time. There's other times where they are hating each other and fighting each other just because they're going crazy in this endless library. And overall, like I've never read a book quite like it. I just think like how clever the author was in kind of exploring this concept, and what would it mean if the library went seemingly on forever? Well, surely some people would try to find the end, right? So there's parts of the book about that, like when the main character tried to find the end, and the end of the library, and the people they ran all the way, and like when does he give up, and his emotional struggles, like does he fall in love? Does he betray his wife that he had on Earth? Does he find a new lover? How does that relationship look like in a seemingly infinite amount of period, in a kind of a limbo realm where they're just trying to eventually get out, and those relationships, like the human reactions to an extraordinary situation, I thought was extraordinarily well done, and that's something that I like in general, just about like fantasy books. Seeing realistic feeling characters in an extraordinary situation is something I really enjoy. I think the character work in here is fantastic, but also just like kind of like the rules of this place. Like they have it so like the stacks of books are separated with like a ravine in the center, and how that kind of plays into the story. Just like the aspects of the setting are kind of unique, and I just thought that. Like I said, it's very short, very, very fast paced, very well paced, I would say. The only big complaint that I had about this book is that I felt like I could have spent more time exploring different aspects of this place. Like, even though it's very stagnant, it's just books and it's the same people and they're all from the same background. And it's kind of exploring a little bit of like the question of like, what is hell, right? Is hell like a place without diversity? That's kind of explored a little bit in the story as well. But there's moments like where like there's bands of people that form together and they form their own like cult, essentially, the subsect of these people that are trapped in the library. It's like such interesting storylines that you could see being extended to an entire book. Like the search for our main character's life story could have been an entire book just dedicated to the search. But because it's such like a long scale, but a short novel, like we're kind of jumping around a lot. And I think it makes perfect sense because the book is not really about the actual events. It's kind of like almost a commentary like on religion a little bit, but also like the God that he thought he knew was fake. So does he worship this real one? And why would he if he's trapped in this hellish landscape that he'll be trapped in for millions of years? Or is that the point and he's supposed to come to grips with this new leader? And it also just makes you question about your own life. Like, what if this happened to me? Which is a strange thing with such like a wacky concept, a wacky version of hell. It does make you think like, based on our main character's experience on Earth, technically this could be what our actual experience will be when we die. And it's just kind of like interesting. And he meets different characters that were atheists, or that were practicing different religions, like all from different backgrounds. This could be happening to us. And I felt like with that question in mind, it makes you it's just a great thought piece, I feel like, of what's going on here. As you can tell, I thought it was really good. And I really did enjoy it. I thought it ended on a satisfying note. And like I said, the only real complaint I would say is I sometimes wish some aspects of it, some specific like sections of his time in hell were expanded upon, just because I found it so interesting, this world and this author and his style of writing and how he explores strange concepts, all just very, very fascinating. I found this book, well, I didn't technically find it, but I started reading it because I'm in a book club with a couple friends, and when my friends recommended it out of the blue, never had heard of it in my entire life, but I'm glad that she recommended it because I quite frankly had a blast, right? And even if it's not like your favorite book of all time, it's so short that I would still recommend it to you. Very, very quick read. I read it in a day. I read it in just 2 sittings. I could have read it in 1. That's how engrossed I was. But overall, just a very, very interesting read. Makes me want to peruse this author's other work just to kind of see if this was kind of a one-hit wonder type situation, or maybe this author's tone is something that really vibes with me. But overall, I found it to be a great experience. A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it? My personal hell would be like making a video, but like I don't know what to say, and it has to be like 20 minutes long. I've made some of those videos about books I don't particularly want to talk about, and yet I talk about them anyway. It's not fun. It's not fun, guys. My life is so hard. Feel bad for me. Feel bad for me. But don't forget, be sure to like and subscribe if you like the video and you want to see more like in the future. And as always, thanks for sticking around.